Sweden looks calm from the outside. Colorful cities, quiet forests, clean design, and many people assume they already understand it. But once you actually travel through Sweden, you realize it feels very different depending on where you go, and most people only see a small part of it. The country has this reputation: minimalist, neutral, reserved, but that surface impression barely scratches what's actually there. Sweden isn't just one kind of destination. It's a mix of stylish cities, wild northern landscapes, coastal islands, and places that feel almost untouched. And that's what makes it surprising, because depending on which direction you head, the entire character of the country shifts. The light changes, the pace changes, even the way people interact with their surroundings changes. If you enjoy discovering places beyond the usual tourist version, make sure you're subscribed. We explore destinations a little differently here. We go past the stereotypes, past the surface, and into what actually makes a place feel the way it does. Stockholm. Start with Stockholm, a city spread across islands. And right away, it doesn't feel like many capitals. It feels lighter, more open. Water is everywhere. Historic streets in Gamla stan, royal buildings, modern neighborhoods built around design and simplicity. But what surprises people most is how calm the city feels. Even as a capital, it feels elegant, without trying too hard. There's no rush, no pressure to prove itself. Stockholm just exists with this quiet confidence. The metro stations are works of art. The cafes are filled without being crowded. And somehow, even in the middle of the city, you're never far from water or green space. It's a capital that doesn't overwhelm you. It invites you in slowly. And that restraint, that sense of balance, is something you feel immediately. But Stockholm is only one version of Sweden. Swedish archipelago. Leave the city, and everything changes. The Stockholm Archipelago has thousands of islands, tiny red cottages, rocky coastlines, boats moving through quiet water. This is the Sweden many visitors don't expect. Simple, peaceful, almost minimal, and yet incredibly beautiful. It feels like another rhythm entirely. Life here moves differently, slower, more intentional. People spend entire summers on these islands, swimming in cold, clear water, eating fresh fish, sitting outside until late because the sun refuses to set. There's no need to do much. And that's the entire point. The archipelago teaches you something Stockholm can't. That sometimes the best version of a place is the one where nothing dramatic happens. Lapland, the north. Head north, and Sweden changes dramatically. Now it feels wild. This is Lapland. Snow-covered forests, frozen lakes, reindeer, and in winter, the northern lights. This is where Sweden stops feeling understated and starts feeling extraordinary. Because up here, nature isn't a backdrop. It's the entire experience. The silence is profound, the scale is massive, and the weather can shift in moments. You're no longer in a country that feels controlled. You're in a place that feels raw, ancient, almost mythical. And then there's the midnight sun in summer, a sun that barely sets, entire days that seem endless. It feels surreal, and it's one of the biggest surprises in the country. Because while everyone talks about the northern lights, fewer people talk about the strange magic of a sun that won't leave, the way time starts to feel irrelevant, the way your body has to adjust to light that just keeps going. It's disorienting, beautiful, and completely unforgettable. Lapland also connects you to the Sami people, indigenous reindeer herders, communities that have lived in these northern regions for thousands of years. Their culture is still alive here. Their relationship with the land is deep, and meeting them, learning from them, adds a layer to Sweden that most people never encounter. Quick question: would you rather explore Stockholm or see the northern lights in Swedish Lapland? Let me know in the comments, because both sides of Sweden are incredible, but they offer completely different experiences. But there's another side of Sweden most people overlook. West Coast, Gothenburg. Then head west, Gothenburg. And suddenly Sweden feels different again. Less polished than Stockholm, more relaxed, more coastal, seafood markets, canals, harbor life, and beyond the city, rocky islands and fishing villages. This side of Sweden feels softer, slower, and far less talked about. Gothenburg has this working-class charm. It's Sweden's second city, but it doesn't try to compete with Stockholm. It does its own thing. The people here are warmer, more direct, the humor is sharper, and the food scene, particularly the seafood, is some of the best in the country. You'll find small restaurants serving shrimp fresh off the boat, oysters pulled from the cold western waters. Simple preparation, maximum flavor, and outside the city, the archipelago here is completely different from Stockholm's. The islands are rockier, windier, more exposed to the North Sea. It feels more rugged, and somehow, more honest. But Sweden isn't just about scenery. Swedish lifestyle. Part of what people remember most is how Sweden feels. The pace, the balance, the simplicity. There's a word people often hear, lagom. Not too much, not too little, just enough. And strangely, you can feel that philosophy in daily life, in the cities, in the food, even in the design. That's what gives Sweden its own atmosphere. It's not about excess. It's not about showing off. It's about finding the right amount of work, of rest, of interaction. Swedes take their vacation time seriously. They disconnect properly. They spend time in nature, not as an escape, but as a necessity. There's also allemansrätten, the right to roam, a legal principle that allows anyone to walk, camp, and forage almost anywhere in nature, as long as you respect the land. That kind of freedom, that trust, shapes how people relate to their environment, and you feel it when you're there. And then there's something people don't expect Sweden to do so well: food plus culture. The food, fresh seafood, cinnamon buns, traditional dishes, cozy cafes, simple food done well. And then there's fika, not just coffee, a ritual, a pause, a lifestyle. And somehow something as simple as that says a lot about the country. Fika happens every day, sometimes twice. It's a moment to stop, to sit, to talk or not talk, to just be present. No rushing, no multitasking. Just coffee and something sweet, usually a cinnamon bun, or maybe a slice of princess cake. And that small ritual becomes a gateway into understanding Swedish culture, because it's not about efficiency. It's about quality of life. Swedish food also surprises people. There's more to it than meatballs, fermented herring, gravlax, lingonberries, pickled everything. And then there are modern Swedish chefs, reinterpreting traditional ingredients, creating a food scene that's both rooted and innovative. You'll find Michelin-starred restaurants in Stockholm, but also tiny coastal shacks serving the best fish you've ever had. Both matter. Both are authentically Swedish. So what makes Sweden so memorable? It's the contrast. Stylish cities, wild Arctic landscapes, island coastlines, quiet forests, a modern culture, and a deep connection to nature. All inside one country many people think they understand too quickly. But once you actually move through it, you realize Sweden isn't just calm. It's layered, complex, full of subtle differences that only reveal themselves slowly. There's the Sweden of design and innovation, the Sweden of ancient forests and endless winters, the Sweden of coastal life and fishing traditions, the Sweden of midnight sun and northern lights. And somehow, they all coexist, they all feel true, and none of them cancel each other out. That's the real surprise. Not that Sweden is beautiful. People expect that. But that it contains so many different versions of beauty, so many different rhythms, all within one relatively small country. And that's why Sweden isn't just what you expect. It's more than that. It's quieter and wilder, modern and timeless, reserved and deeply welcoming, all at once. If you enjoy exploring places like this in a different way, make sure to subscribe. There's a lot more coming. We'll keep digging into destinations that surprise you, that reveal themselves slowly, that reward patience and curiosity. And let me know in the comments, what part of Sweden would you want to experience most? The capital? The archipelago? The Arctic North? Or maybe the West Coast? Because each one offers something completely different, and all of them are worth your time.